And I'm just sitting here wondering who's best equipped in the East to make sure this doesn't turn into a back-to-back or a dynastic run, right? I mean, Horford's coming back, and, Brown's not going anywhere, obviously. Tatum's not walking out that door. And, everybody else just appears to be in the fold, and there's no, disease of me or anything like that. I'm just wondering where you think this goes in the East next year, Vincent.
Well, Rich, count me among the people that thought the Denver Nuggets were going to repeat because you saw the formula. You saw the MVP in the peak of his prime. You see a top five, starting five. You see all these young pieces. You see a coach. You see a hunger and a thirst to repeat. And they got knocked out in the second round, so anything can happen. With the Celtics, they have not only just the pain of losing, but like you said, they have all their key players locked up. Now, you're asking the question about Kristaps Porzingis and his long-term health and about Al Horford and his age. So with that, I would look at the Milwaukee Bucks because they have the next best player in Giannis Antetokounmpo, assuming health. He has missed significant playoff games the last 2 years. I don't believe in the Philadelphia 76ers, Rich, even though Joel Embiid won MVP last year, Tyrese Maxey emerged this year, and they have cap space. There's just something about the Brew that doesn't make me believe quite in what they're doing. And honestly, everybody sees the New York Knicks and they say, man, the Knicks, they got the cap space. They've got, sort of this energy. But I'm very curious what Jalen Brunson and Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart and all those heavy usage guys, I wonder what they're going to look like next year. Well, are you going to pay the bill for all the culture that you established this year? Next year, at some point, the bill is going to be paid. Like, do you remember, Rich? I'm a little younger than you.
Okay.
Do you remember the board game Operation?
Of course.
Where it was the patient on the table?
Yes, sir.
And, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Tom Thibodeau has a chunk of some athlete at every body part. He's got Derrick Rose's knees. Now he's claimed Julius Randle's shoulders. At some point, it's going to be somebody else's like rib cage or something like zzz. Yeah. That's what it's going to be. I feel like every part has been claimed by Tom Thibodeau, and I wonder if the bill will be paid next season with some of these other players.
Yeah, like Jalen Brunson's bread basket. Is that where you're going? Okay.
Something like that.
I was waiting to hear where you were going with that to see if you thought Thibodeau's nose lit up or anything like that. All right, I'm done with my Operation references. What do you think the Knicks are going to do? Is there a big fish out there in free agency or that they can trade for? Are the Suns sort of strapped where they got to get rid of somebody or something like that, Vincent?
It is like dependent on what they do with OG Anunoby because he's a free agent, right? You have Paul George, who is an unrestricted free agent with the Clippers. And we've heard all this noise about teams who are lining up to sort of pitch to Paul George a maximum contract. And during this interim period, which started the night after the NBA Finals ended, the Clippers basically have the right of first refusal. They could say, you know what, Paul, we know you want a max. We don't want to give you a max, but we don't want to lose you to someone else. And they haven't given him that max contract yet. Maybe something could happen in the next couple of days and make this conversation totally obsolete. But if you're the Knicks and you're looking at the Celtics who have Tatum and Brown on the wings, you know you have to have guys who can score and guys who can defend, not necessarily traditional positions, but guys who can match up with them. If you can throw out OG Anunoby and Paul George against those guys and have Jalen Brunson out there still being this, higher usage point guard, maybe not as high usage as he was this year, but having Paul George as a guy out there as a safety valve, as a guy who can create his own shot. There's, of course, the CAA connection that people don't like to necessarily talk about in these rooms, but the CAA connection with the New York Knicks is absolutely real, and Paul George is represented by CAA. I don't have a problem with that, subsequently. So I wouldn't be surprised if the rumors of Paul George to the New York Knicks, like it seems to make sense if the Knicks would be interested in him and if he would be interested in them.
I just don't know how Steve Ballmer lets Paul George walk when he's opening up his new dome about 5 miles from here. I just don't see that. I just see him wanting to get the best possible Clippers team and get everybody all excited to go to his new building. Certainly if the Lakers are potentially in flux. I've got Vincent Goodwill here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.